What's up, y'all? It is your girl. Y'all already know it is Mrs. Sutton. And y'all know when I'm coming. Y'all know I'm coming with that real heat. And today, we got a familiar voice in the building. She ain't spoke to y'all in a minute. Y'all forgive her in advance for abandoning y'all. But she
really?
back.
That's what we doing? Yeah, okay.
But she back on the scene for a very special episode. But I'm going to get into the details of that in a minute. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, SD, aka Superman's daddy, in the building. Did you miss me?
Yeah.
Apparently. So y'all already know we have been into this episode about confessions. And y'all already know my husband loved doing series. So
Really?
we up here.
Yes, really.
Exactly.
It ain't my fault that we got a lot to say and it wind up being 2 or 3 episodes.
Oh, no, we're not faulting anything, but
We're just stating the facts, right? You know,
Okay.
like y'all know my husband loved doing.
Ladies' choice, ladies first.
My husband loved doing uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez. So,
Nobody understand what the hell you talking about.
1 to 10, brother. Come on now.
thank you.
I can't count that high.
So, anywho, so we about to dive into this topic because the theme that has been running rapid in 2023 in capital bold letters is toxicity. When I say this has been the devil's playground all 2023.
Yeah.
Every time you turn around, y'all seeing it on y'all social media. Y'all posting it. Somebody toxic. Somebody baby daddy toxic. My mama
That's my
toxic.
baby daddy.
My daddy toxic. It seemed like toxicity was the word of the year.
Yeah.
So I got some questions for SD about this topic of toxicity. Because we all done had them relationships. And you know that's been the word for the week, y'all. Relationships. Them ships that folks just love poking holes in.
And so what? Don't you know that it's going to sink to the bottom?
No, they don't believe that. They think tape is going to fix that.
Yeah, okay, tape.
Yeah, tape. Yeah, you know, quick fix. You know, get your hood maintenance man. You know, here, you know.
See, when you get into the problem right here, is it? Mom, you go ahead on.
Right.
Put brakes on backwards on my car. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, we ain't gonna even talk. I could give you some hood maintenance stories, okay? Wires running through people, heater vents and everything. We could talk about some hood maintenance, but we ain't about to go through that.
All right.
But if you're ready, my lovely sister.
Yes, I am.
All right.
Let's get to it.
The one thing that Mr. Sutton has said is family is your first heartbreak.
That's right.
If you can remember, who was your first heartbreak?
Wow, who was my first heartbreak? Well, I guess it all depends on which topic you'd like to focus in on.
Well, that's a broad spectrum.
Of course, of course.
However, I'll give you a little prelude. Maybe this will help you out.
That'll work.
My first familiar, La Familia for you all, that means family, heartbreak would have been my father.
Mm.
That was the first person in my life that told me he was going to do something and didn't do it.
Mm. Well, here's the thing. If I just have to be completely honest, and you know I am,
Of course.
several factors come into play for me.
Mm-hmm.
One would actually be my father. Because as pretty much we know, or what's been told to us as far as females are concerned and growing up and such, is that your father more or less like sets the blueprint for that potential man that you may end up marrying one day in the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And with his teachings and his knowledge, because he actually is a man, he pretty much is supposed to let you know what to watch out for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how you're supposed to be treated, what that man is supposed to bring to the table as far as you're concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And see, for me, that wasn't necessarily my storyline, which I'm quite sure others could attest to this.
Most definitely.
The constant male figure that was in my life from the time I was born until I was 26 years old was my grandfather.
Mm.
So I can't necessarily say that I didn't have a male figure or role model in my life, but he stepped in and played that position,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when, dare I say, kind of like he really didn't have to.
Yeah.
But I'm very grateful that he did, because he showed me what a real true man looks like,
Yeah.
and that I would possibly want to end up marrying one day. And I actually have found that.
And that's the truth, because like you, my grandfather was also very heavy in my life, due to whatever dynamics that I'm not aware of and still not aware of. We wasn't around my grandfather as often as we probably should have been, or we would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
But, and when it comes to granddaddy, when I say he was step, he gon' step. If it was Christmas, he was giving you a budget, go get what you need for your babies. If you need me to step in and babysit, bring her on over here. I got to pull out chair. She gonna sleep and be ready for school. Whatever was needed, he was gonna do it. Now, it wasn't gonna come without a lecture. You was gonna take that lecture. But when it comes to being the grandkids, he was gonna step. And that's the God's honest truth. These but po kids, some of these children would never truly understand what it means to have a grandparent or grandparents
Exactly.
that's really gonna step for you. But a lot of that is because a majority of these grandparents now are two, so they ain't stepping the way that these older generations.
Oh, they stepping somewhere all right, but it's not in the direction that you. They stepping in your way, trying to get to the club and the casino and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, or daughter and grandmama pregnant at the same time.
You know what? I'm not going to even do that.
But you know, that's powerful, because you could take that and really say the relationships that was chosen was due to not having that role model. So let's flip it. The woman you are is attributed to the female role models. Would you say that your mom had a positive influence on that, or a negative influence on that?
And again, if I just have to be honest, I'm going to honestly say that it's a mixture. if you will.
Mm-hmm.
For the simple fact, it's some good, some bad, It just, again, it all depends on what we're actually focusing on here. Like there's some, dare I say, some sayings or some lessons that I learned, in my younger years and stuff that I kind of like still carry with me today and everything. And I've actually passed them down to my daughter so that she can be the best person that she can be.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some other lessons. There's kind of, yeah, I'm not just, I'm sorry. Want to work with you, but no.
And that's a powerful thing, because unfortunately we live in a society that is biased against our men and all for our women.
I agree.
And they don't realize that women can be some of the most toxic,
Vindictive,
screwed up creatures,
petty.
ooh, that could have ever walked the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what they say, hell have no fury like a woman scorned.
But I want to know why the kids got to pay for you being scorned.
It's all about leverage.
Oh, yeah.
Well, think about it. You didn't give me what I wanted, even though I told you what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
My delivery may not have been the greatest. And as where I possibly could have been a little bit smoother with my approach, I decided to just be like, take a sledgehammer to this is what I need you to do, and everything. And as a result, you said, no, ma'am. And you decided to go in another direction. Mm-hmm. But see, now, because we have offspring.
Yeah.
Here's what I get to do.
Are you
ready?
Yes.
See, because we have offspring to make you pay.
Yes. For what your daddy didn't do.
Exactly. Because you didn't do what I told you to do when I told you to do it.
Because you look like your daddy.
Right. Okay, well then that means I'm good looking. So, hey, I ain't worried about it. It worked for you at one point in time, didn't it?
That is crazy.
But that's the God's honest truth, though. Mm-hmm. The God's honest truth is that a lot of mothers punish their daughters because their daughters have attributes of the opposite parent. Or the relationship becomes unhealthy because they had no choice but to let the other parent go. Now they don't want to let the child go.
And I would say that would be more of a case or my situation. Because, dare I say, kind of like my dad's kind of like a free spirit or whatever. It's like I could call him up right now. We could talk, hey, how you doing? We could pick up where we left off from the last time, and it's all love. It's all good. And then depending, I'm like, well, yeah, I talked to him, oh, how's he doing? He's doing all right, and give it the rundown or whatever. And now I'm starting to notice the facial expression is changing. The body language is switched up and everything. And it's, well, hold up. You see me on the regular. We only communicate every once in the blue moon. Now, surely you don't feel slighted in any kind of way, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, most definitely.
But why?
Because it is a control factor.
Look here, what Janet Jackson said, hey, she said, look, this is a story about control.
Mm-hmm.
My control. Control of what I say. Control of what I do. And this time, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah. But your way contradicts the thought process that wanted to be implied.
Well, see, what the
I'm
thought
your
process...
only parent.
The thought process was, hey, I wanted you to walk directly in my footsteps. That's what the thought process was. But when I decided to take two steps to the left, yeah, okay, then see.
Now, cha-cha now, y'all.
Exactly. And oh, how I like the cha-cha.
Me too.
Yeah. So, it's like, at the end of the day, while we all come from two parents, everybody is an individual. And you cannot, or at least you should not, as a parent, put the pressure of your child and or your children following in your footsteps. They have their own lives to lead.
Oh yeah, you would think so.
Right. I know it doesn't.
You would think that we're raising children to be individuals.
Mm-hmm.
But society says they're raising us to eventually come back and raise them. We skip.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Oh, believe you me, I inherited toxic mommy. So I get it. And what's sickening is I remember telling my husband years ago, I said, you're literally this woman's husband.
And for those of you that might not be catching on to what she's referring to, allow me to give you a movie title that's one that's near and dear to my heart. The name of the movie is called Jumping the Broom.
Oh, God.
Starring Laz Alonso and Paula Patton.
Yes.
And of course, we can't forget my boy Mike Epps. I loved his character in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But please continue.
So, why did I say that? Even to this day, I still get the calls. Can he come and do? And if it doesn't happen when they feel like it should happen,
Come on.
oh well, you should have convinced him that is my firstborn.
Let me stop you right there. Ain't your husband sitting there in that chair looking crazy?
Whole maniac,
Mhm.
but
Right. Okay, so allow me to shed some light on this situation, if you will. You said the key word, firstborn, born of you, which meant one day he was going to go away from you. And what I can't seem to understand, hold up, wait a minute, let me put a little bit of Bible in it. If our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ was about 12 or 13 years old when he left home to go venture out and, follow his calling, why is it that so many women in many cultures around the world want to have this vice grip hold on their sons?
oh my goodness, what do you mean? They're supposed to be the man you let get away.
What kind of sick, freaking, weirdo, twisted kind of...
What is that? But that's the reality. The reality is...
No, that's a twisted reality. And allow me to use my favorite word right up there with toxicity, narcissist.
Yes. Why is
Hey,
that?
have you lost your mind?
You're supposed to take care of me. I'm grooming you. And you're never supposed to leave me. But
No,
Because-
what you're grooming is you're grooming a little boy to become an intelligent, grown man who will be able to stand on his own 2 feet, because despite what you may think, one day you might not be around anymore. So is he supposed to sit there and twiddle his thumbs because you've gone on to glory and he's not supposed to have anybody by his side and they have a family that they raise and take care of? Make it make sense.
oh no, again, we are groomed to raise them. But this is the thing. What I figured out in all these situations is this. There is a problem with every child, not because of the child, but because of the opposite parent they could not hold on to or control.
But here's my question. Why does one feel that they have to have control over someone? Because see, here's the problem. The resentment that you have for not being able to control that individual that man or what have you. See, now that resentment is thrust on whose shoulders? Your child or your children. So now that child has to pay for the mistakes when in all actuality, depending on the situation or whatever, yeah, that's the one that got away. He got away from your crazy self. And that was actually a beautiful thing right there. So for what it's worth, I can't be upset if he decided that he didn't want to fall victim to the foolishness that you brought to the table. However, I do need him to take accountability for the fact that when I call, you have somebody on the other end to field your phone calls. You sitting right there, but you're telling them to tell your child that you're not at home or that you're asleep. You don't make the effort. Doesn't matter how you feel about the person that brought that, that carried that, that individual. It should still be something in you to say, hey, at the end of the day, I'm just as much responsible for this little person being in this world just like they are.
Mm-hmm. Now, I would agree with that. But the reality of the situation is, unfortunately, the children suffer the sins for whatever craziness the other parent put them through. It ain't right.
And also,
but to understand the situation is when that child is under the age of adulthood, whatever parent has primary custody, they have to deal with that other parent. And unfortunately, you got a lot of parents out here who can't let go and make the other parent's job miserable. I have seen it firsthand. Okay. Especially if it's the situation you believe that person hurt you, you're going to use that child to pay for it. So
point taken.
And guys get away with this more ever than women could ever do. A man will walk away than to deal with your bitter behind.
True.
And tell the child, come find me when you grown.
Well, what am I going to do with you once I'm grown? I needed you to lay the foundation when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody ring the bell.
Because remember, I'm a child.
Yeah.
What you put into me, depending is what's going to... But if you didn't pour anything into that cup, how do you expect to drink?
I agree. And I'm just shooting facts because that is the reality. We don't know the basis of what got us here. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, children pay the price because it's the behind the scene phone calls that the kids don't see. You didn't give me my money, so you can't talk to them. You didn't do what I told you to do, so you can't do this. As a result, the child doesn't know the behind the scenes.
Well, now that might not necessarily be true, because while the parent that's trying to create that narrative like, hey, well, you can't do this or you can't do that, believe it or not, you got some other relatives that are in the wings watching everything unfold.
But you talking about that famous saying of, that's not my business and I'm not getting involved. Oh yeah, it's that dynamic too. But because it can always be a middleman. It could.
But for me, dare I say, it actually worked out in my favor. Because remember, they're two grandmothers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm just gonna say the best way I can say it. The one grandmother had an issue with me being here. Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was pleased as punch. So when I would go around my grandmother, after we done spent some time, we do what we usually do, enjoying each other's company. What she do? She pull out her phone book, open it up, here you go. Call your dad. Call your grandma. See how they doing. See if they're going to be home. Okay. They're going to be home tomorrow? What did they say? They're going to be home tomorrow? Okay, we're going to go over there. How many actually came from that perspective? Because typically, if one feels slighted, then everybody feels slighted.
But I think that you, Superman Daddy, just answered your own question. It took an actual adult
Point taken.
to facilitate some kind of relationship.
And the one thing I can honestly say between both of my grandparents, it's like she didn't sugarcoat anything. She always broke stuff down to me so that I could understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think when all was said and done, she knew that we were only going to have a limited amount of time together on this earth. So she tried to impart as much wisdom in me as she possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to conversations regarding my father and things like that, more or less like she gave me what it really was, which was the truth, versus you have a lot of people that it's their opinion, and usually that opinion is of a negative nature, and you're dumping or you're filling these kids' ears with a whole bunch of negativity. So it's like, it's not their thoughts and how they feel about their father. It's you talking through them or coming out. So now they have an attitude.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. And then we going back to the other grandmother. Again, the key word is toxicity.
Toxicity, absolutely, at its finest.
I'm thinking other grandma, because other grandma had a problem, and back to that husband stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
He couldn't portray what kind of relationship he really wanted with his daughter because mommy had an issue.
Oh, but wait. Let's add another log to the fire, shall we?
Shall we? Yes, we
shall.
shall.
Absolutely. Well, you see,
y'all opening up some wounds.
Hey, these are my confessions.
There you go.
So with that being said, when you have two females that pretty much have the same viewpoint, if you will, and you have this individual that's stuck in the middle, and it's like a tug of war. Well, the problem is they're similar in nature, the way they move, the way they carry themselves and things, and so they clash.
Oh, most definitely.
So now he has to make a choice.
Yeah. And the choice was definitely the wrong choice.
Exactly.
But he would have caught it either way it went.
Pretty much.
No matter.
No lies detected. That's ding, 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 ding. What do we have for it, Johnny?
No matter which one he tried to please, his mama or the birth mama, he would have caught it either way.
It was going to be some drama either way it goes.
And I promise you, men are the percentage of men that love drama is far less than the percentage of women that actually love drama. A man will disappear before he deal with that foolishness. So
apparently,
what he did, while wrong, was try to find a way to balance his own sanity while wrong, because he went out and found comfort in what he thought would be sanity and tried to create his own family that would leave one with psychotic mama so she could groom, get my mama off my back so she'll be happy, but still have the definition of a family. And that is what's sad. Because the adults in the situation, the alpha women in the situation, one couldn't let go and the other one couldn't let go either of one man. And the child paid the price because two women couldn't let go of one man.
Point taken. And then, but wait, here's the interest. Let me throw yet another log on this fire.
Come on, you know I got you.
Alrighty. So, keeping in mind how he was raised, that dynamic, that personality, you turn around and marry somebody just like her.
Yes, because you ultimately marry what you're raised around. We started with that. What's imparted in you, the example that's set, is ultimately what you end up attracting yourself to. That ain't necessarily his fault. He don't know no better. He don't know no better. All he know is what he was raised with. I just had a similar conversation with my mother-in-law concerning my child. Because I get so tired of hearing when I was her age and I had to say, but
you know what?
She does not have the same story that you have. You was her age, married with a child and everything else. She ain't got none of that.
If I had $1,000 for
every time
when I was your age, I promise you, every last one of us, down to the youngest, would be able to retire. Okay? That's another phrase that we can throw in the fire,
right,
and watch it go up into flames.
Yes, because that's the reality. And what I've learned is when you look at those dynamics in that way, you can heal. Because one wants to keep control because of what she couldn't control back in the day. And it don't matter where you go and how far you go. It's a generational curse. Because when you don't know who you are, you got to find control over the little bit of sanity that you do have.
Wow. You really went to the bottom of the ocean on that one. You really did, because it's like, as you just said that, it's like, wow. That really is what it is.
Yes. You have, you think about, here's an analogy.
I love analogies.
My grandmother had a friend who had 3 kids. And every other time you turned around, she kept losing custody of her kids.
Huh?
They kept going into foster care. They was in and out of foster care because she had issues.
Oh.
Okay.
So, as a result, when me and the youngest daughter became adults, I spoke to her one time in our short term of adulthood.
Okay.
What did I hear? I'm in a relationship with an older man and I'm a stripper.
Okay. No judgment, but okay.
Most definitely no judgment because I know her background.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect it to turn out any other way. When you grew up in confusion, you're going to carry confusion. When you don't know who you are, you're subject to become anything.
You know what? I'm going to just be honest with you. To a certain extent, I can agree with that, but then I can also say I can disagree with that, because what I've come to find, like just observing people and things, like whether it be in my own family or people that I've, met along the way in life and things of that nature, sometimes in that confusion, you have an epiphany. And the epiphany is simply this. I'm not trying to do any of this here.
Mm-hmm.
I want something different. So I'm going to say that all depends on that individual.
And that depends on if that epiphany ever occurs. Because some people get comfortable exactly where they are.
Exactly.
So there are people that thrive in chaos, love confusion, love dysfunction, because it takes the focus off of what? Them.
What about the dance in the situation?
It gives them something else to focus on. People like that, you find. You ever find they don't like silence?
Speak.
Something always has to be going, whether it's the TV, it's the radio, it's something. Something always has to be going. Because true silence brings upon self-reflection. And when a person doesn't want to sit with themselves, they're always going to have something going to distract them.
But what if it's split? What if it's a thing of their silence and they're left alone with their thoughts? And then, well, there's the distract. Oh, well, let me play on my phone, or let me watch TV, or let
those
me read
moments of silence is ways to figure out how they can control or keep hold of what they already got going on. That ain't self-reflection.
Okay.
You ever notice that a lot of times when they come out of those quiet moments, it's always some kind of prelude conversation as to what you don't do?
Well, you know, I had a lot of time to think.
Yup. Yeah.
You know, I was up late last night.
Yeah.
I should have been in the bed.
Yep.
That's what I was. I was in the bed. Wasn't thinking about anything.
Exactly.
Except I hope that my alarm decides to work in the morning so that I don't be late for work.
Yep.
All
And
that overthinking, that'll give you a headache.
but it's easier to focus on everybody else's problems.
That's very true.
Or what you perceive their problems to be, because truth be told, it ain't a problem as long as it's exactly what you want.
Or better yet, it's not a problem until I speak up.
Yeah. And that's what I said. I heard a man literally say to his son, I was there until I couldn't be there.
And that speaks volumes. Big
He
time.
said, I was there until I couldn't be there.
Okay, so then the question is, what was going on in that dynamics that
It was
caused that man
about
to make
what
that statement?
the choice that the mama made to bring another individual in, and because that other individual wanted control and didn't want the ex present, so that he can brainwash the kids into thinking daddy don't want you and cause a dynamic there. That's what that was about. And it got to a point to where it was either fight or flight. And they chose flight.
Right. Because I'm thinking possibly if they hadn't, they would have chosen whatever color jumpsuit there is.
Most
that
definitely.
that we have in this grand state of ours. So
Yeah,
for what it's worth, I'm not mad at that.
exactly.
If it means
especially
you
when you know the players.
For me, my thing is, it all because every situation is different. But if you have to leave to keep your sanity, but you can still find a way to keep in touch, and naturally, that's typically one of the issues, because as long as that custodial parent
Yep, there you go.
is calling the shots or running
There
the
you
show,
go.
then it's going to be a divide.
It always.
And for me, I'm a firm believer of what comes around goes around. Karma spins the block twice. So you're doing all this stuff, you easing in and out of the shadows, keeping this confusion and this mess going. You've driven a wedge between a parent and his children and everything. So then they grow up resenting him, and then when he attempts to tell them the truth, like, oh well, she kept me away, then the children don't want to accept it because you done filled them with all this toxicity.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side of that same coin, the children want to get upset because you have other people outside of the family dynamic or outside of the family period that are singing this man's praises.
Because
here's the craziest part about that, and I really am out of it. When we talk to that individual, because he's AF gang, he's coming to bring his side of the story. But bruh man came with receipts.
Yep.
And he came with some receipts that was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the beautiful part. I guess
It's something about them receipts. No.
I love them.
Oh yeah.
I love them because
the toxicity in that situation is, before there was a reconnect, there was a conversation that said, remember he beat me. Remember he broke my nose. Remember he cheated on me. Remember he put me through all of this.
Stop. Time out, flag on the play, offsides, clipping, traveling. No, because first and foremost, 9 times out of 10, with statements like that, what you're trying to get somebody on your team.
Uh-huh.
And 9 times out of 10, the person that you're trying to get on your team didn't realize what was going on when it was happening. Because they're a little person that's dependent upon you to take care of them and get them to a point where they can stand on their own 2 feet. So what do you mean you remember he used to do this? You remember he used to... No, I don't. I was 2.
Yeah.
I was 5.
Yes. And then the crazy, and that's what I was saying, even with that dynamic, I have to say, watching these situations unfold, because even for myself, now, my mother was the total opposite from you guys. She never spoke a bad word, and my father was suicidal crazy. And they literally went through the real, true, down, dirty domestic violence situations, and we flee in our house in the middle of the night because he got drug folks looking after him type deals.
Okay. Gotcha.
But never did she breathe a negative word about that man.
Okay.
If he called, he could call.
Mm-hmm.
If he wanted to talk to me, he could talk to me. If he wanted to come to the house and see me, he could come see me. If he wanted to pick me up, he could come pick me up. She didn't care that he was married.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't get nowhere near involved in that.
Okay.
If she brought him to the house,
Respect. Okay.
she sat outside because she wanted to, not because she had to.
Exactly.
I hands down did not know the kind of stuff that my dad was involved in at that time until after my mama passed away, because she never spoke an ill word against him. So my dynamic is different because my perception came from my own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get the manipulation or the toxicity side of it until another guardian came into the picture.
Got it.
And when the guardian came, then it became yo daddy ain't, and yo daddy this, and you look like yo daddy, and yo daddy that. That's when I caught it, but I caught it later on in life.
Actually, that's about right. Because what happens is now we want to play this game of comparison.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's wrong.
Oh yeah.
And for me, I can honestly say it's not so much that anything ill was spoken about. What was spoken was the truth. It was just whether I actually accepted the truth for what it was. But because of the type of person that I'm very observant. Mm-hmm. So I'm always paying attention. I'm always listening, things of that nature. And it's like, after a while, when you keep hearing some of the same things about a person coming from others, everybody can't be wrong. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody can't be wrong. And the thing was, for me, just if I just really got to be honest, I never had the type of relationship with my father that I really would have liked to. If for whatever reason it didn't work out between y'all, that's fine. I would have loved, and I know some people are probably going to be like, when I say this, but I would have loved if it would have been a situation with Will Smith and his ex-wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would have been all for that. You know, y'all work that out and everything, and it's like I still get to see you, I still get to spend time with you, people get to know me and everything like that. But it's like, when all is said and done, when I lost my grandmother, his mother, because at this point my mom's mom was gone, people looking at me when they see me after she passed away, they come in to his house and stuff, and we come over and everything, and people are looking at me, and it's, you look familiar, I've seen you somewhere before. There's a reason for that. I look just like him. And then that's when he speaks up and says, oh, well, this is my, wait a minute, hold up. What you mean this is your daughter? I've been knowing you for what? 17 years? Sweetie, how old are you? 17. You mean to tell me you had a whole child out here I ain't know anything about? Pretty much. So they directed it to me because he didn't say, okay, well, you want me to field this? Fine, I'll field it. That's because I was raised by my mother. Mic drop. Any other questions? So like navigating through this thing we call life, tried to impart a whole lot of wisdom. But for me, where I had an issue was one person can only do so much. And I'm sorry, but again, whether you're together or not, that's neither here nor there. Children need lessons about life from both parents so that they can have, so that the scales can be balanced, so to speak.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And it's like, as a woman, yes, you're going to tell me your perspective of what I should, expect from any man that I deal with out here and things of that nature from a female point of view. But I should also have been able to get that from a male point of view. Mm-hmm. And for you to try to make it seem like, oh, well, I taught you everything that you needed to know. I'm sorry, did you create me by yourself?
But here's the funny part. I taught you everything you needed to know. Number one, we're going to call BS on that because no one knows everything.
I know that's right.
You taught me what you could. Life is going to teach me the rest.
Exactly.
You gave me some tools.
Right.
And that goes to that isolation tactic of, well, I did it. I taught you.
Let me get my pats on the back. Okay. But
I give it to you.
But at the end of the day, I still needed his point of view. Because you figure those formative years and everything, pretty much typically they say that a child starts to develop memories at what age? What is it?
About 5.
No. It's younger than that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I want to say about 18 months of age.
Yeah, I can say that because I remember the time I snuck out the house and crawled in the middle of the street. So, yeah.
Right.
I think I was like 2.
Exactly. So, roughly about 18 months to 2 years of age, that's when children start to develop memories and things of this nature. So, depending on the situation and what's going on, and you ask a child, like you'll hear a child say something like, oh, well, I heard this or I saw that. And the first thing an adult is they're going to do, oh, you don't remember what, you don't know what that child remembers. Were you there when this child was witnessing whatever was unfolding in front of them? So you can't really, in good faith, actually make that statement. So from ages 2 to 7, those are where your core memories take place. That's where the foundation is supposed to be laid, as far as, both parents doing what it is that they're supposed to do. So when one is missing, it leaves a major void.
Yes, it does.
Which causes resentment, which causes a lot of questions, like, well, did I do something wrong? And things of that nature. And for people to be in denial about the fact and want to act like kids don't have emotions or can't get depressed and things of that nature, just because children might not worry about what adults worry about, but a lot of adults put their adult worries on children, which causes children to be depressed. Because why should I be worried about why the lights aren't on? I'm 6.
Light bomb.
Right.
I mean, I'm not that. I mean, I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
And everything, but it's like, why should I be worried about, oh, your boss is getting on your nerves, and if you could, you would cuss him out royally, but you can't because you're the steady paycheck that's holding down this household.
Oh, or I would leave this job, but I have to take care of you.
Exactly.
And that gets me too. Do I need to be a constant reminder of you settling for something?
Well, first of all, my personal favorite would be, well, I sacrificed this and I did that. I'm sorry, were you held at gunpoint?
You sacrificed
because
you made that decision when you decided to spread eagle.
Well, I won't even, what, I'll even just leave that out of it, because, hey, everybody does what they want to do. But once again, for me, it's the thing about the choices that we make. For every situation, you have at least 2 choices. That's bare minimum.
Yep.
Now, where it comes into play with the choices that you make is, are you going to suffer some severe consequences?
You suffer consequences either way it goes.
True. Or are you going to receive some blessings from the choice you make? Now, allow me to give y'all another movie title. And this one really kind of like hits home for me, so to speak. Medea's Family Reunion.
Oh, that's my movie.
I'm quite sure everybody remembers Victoria.
That heathen.
And her sister, well, not her sister, her daughter Vanessa made a valid point to her sister Lisa. More or less like, she's had you under her thumb since you were born.
Mm-hmm.
So
grooming you.
Right, exactly. So when more or less like mommy, she doesn't want to marry this man and everything like this. I took care of you like a little princess, designer clothes, the best schools and this. Whoa. Okay, you may have done that, but see, now that I'm an adult and I can see, because Tyler Perry, I like to feel that it's always a lesson in whatever work it is. I got more from the plays, more so than the movies, but still, it comes together in the end.
Yep.
So basically, what I'm getting from you is, you didn't do all of this stuff out the kindness of your heart.
What's that?
You did this so that you could get a return later on in life.
Oh, back to what I said. This is what it goes down to. Your job as my child is to financially, emotionally secure me because of everything that I went through, emotionally and financially securing you. This is why you can't go off and get married and raise your family and think that I'm not going to be attached.
Oh, that's a fool to think that, baby. And trust me, many have done it. Little something I like to call no contact. Okay? And I just want to make this point out here, because I'm quite sure, even though y'all hear me laughing and things, that's facetiousness. coming out of me.
Very.
That's facetiousness.
Well, hey,
but
because we tried to get away. They ended up moving. Never mind.
But on a serious note, you guys, as far as that's concerned, it's a thing of somebody goes no contact, and I love how people want to try to act like they don't understand why, the kids and grandkids aren't around them and this, that, and the third, whatever the case may be. Let me say this to you. I'm gonna just make this point, and y'all let me know if I'm way off target. But for me, it's all about how you treat others.
Ooh, especially when they coming up.
Just in general, just period. It's all in how you treat others. Now, if you're the type of individual that it's all about you, you're selfish, you don't try to help anyone when, they're going through something or whatever the case may be, remember, what you put out is what you get back. Mm-hmm. So if you decide that you want to be selfish and live in your own little bubble and everything like that, and keep people at bay because you don't want them to constantly be calling you whenever it's an issue or whatever, then on the flip side of that same coin, don't expect the same people that you have disregarded to come to your rescue when times get rough for you, and then want to throw it under the umbrella of family.
Oh my God, that toxic.
Yes, that's not how this goes. But when you are open-minded, when you're kind, when you're helpful, even if it's just possibly maybe talking to somebody and listening to them because they're going through a crisis situation or whatever the case may be. It's not always about materialistic items and finances and things of that nature. If you're just an open and giving person, then when you hit a patch of bad luck or whatever the case may be, people will rally around you. But you can't be giving off this toxic vibe or just, well, I'm going to say what I want to say because of the age behind my name and things of that nature. Because believe it or not, you have some, and it's different ways that this can actually be resolved. When you come off or give out that type of vibe, you have some that will match your energy and possibly severely hurt your feelings.
Mrs. Sutton.
You have those that they might say something and try to be as diplomatic about it as they possibly can.
Superman daddy.
Or on the other end of that spectrum, you have those that like Steve Urkel, I don't have to take this, I'm going home. And will turn around, they won't say one word to the foolishness that just came out your mouth, and they will go on about their business. So if you're constantly giving somebody a hard time, what is the probability that when they finally get to that point in their life where they don't have to be around you as much, as long as you live under my roof, you'll abide by my rules. When that no longer applies, now what? Now what? And you can't. I mean, really, you at their old age, at y'all's old ages, you gonna be talking about trying to threaten to whoop somebody after all these years?
Listen. I'm gonna close it with this. I'll never forget I was watching a video and while it was comedy, what you just said ran true. The guy was picking his daughter up from school and he decides to let the window down and yell her whole government name to call her to the car. The daughter gets in the car and she says, at your big grown age, understand, at your big grown age, maturity needs to play a part. You gotta learn to let go at some time. But what I've learned is, if you don't want to let go, I have no problem cutting the strings for you. And with that being said, I'm your girl, Mrs. Sutton.
And I'm SD, Superman's daddy.
And stay tuned because we'll be back. Love y'all.
Peace.
Peace.